Hey, welcome to the channel. Just wanted to show you all what I've been doing to try to uh, exercise my rights and the rights of others. Because one thing I believe in is that the policies at the police department have to first change. If we want our rights to change, then the policies must first change. I'm not going to sit and say officers are all bad. I'm not going to um, make derogatory comments. I'm more like the person that I watched that before I got into this, and just to let you know, give you a heads up and give a shout out to the Battle Side. That's on YouTube, so you guys go check out the Battle Size YouTube channel. He's the one that you know I looked at his videos, and that's I want to make sure that I'm respectful to people I come across. Now, don't get me wrong. When you come across wrong to me, you're going to find out that I'm indeed a Leo. And by Leo, I mean born in the month of Leo season. So, I just want to show you guys because the first one I want to deal with, the first one I dealt with was Plano's Police Department. And what better way to show you than to show you the emails between myself, the chief, the city attorneys, and so you can see the evidence and how I initiate. Before I initiate an audit, I like to reach out and first see if complaint forms are found online for citizens. You shouldn't have to walk into the police department to fill out a complaint form nowadays. You should be able to go online and get them if they're easily accessible. So let's find out if Plano's, city of Plano, Texas, if their complaint form against officers are indeed easy to find and accessible to the public. The first thing I'll tell you is they are. But here's the email that I initially sent out. This is to the city attorneys that we have in here. So these are the email addresses to the city attorneys. My email address if you ever want to get in touch with me. And you can see, I'll read a little bit of the email for you, but this is how I like to open emails. I first like to visit the website where the complaint forms are. And if I find discrepancies in them, then I like to email the proper people to see if they can't change them simply by me being polite and courteous over email. Because trust me, if you want to see people polite, the best way is over email. Written, because they can't take that back. It gives them time to cool down, to think before they make a mistake. So I like to give people opportunities, government or whomever. I like to give them opportunities, to think about what they want to do. So here we go. First thing I was telling the city attorney team in Plano was I hate writing emails to attorneys because, listen, attorneys will dissect an email grammatically, and because certain words in legalese does not mean the same thing in layman terms. In later videos, I'll show you the difference in a lot of those things. But trust me, email words mean something different to an attorney than it would a layman. So email is in regards to the officer complaint forms that are used for citizens to file complaints on police officers. That in case you guys want to look, that form name is FM 614.007. I wanted to make sure they could reference that document. I must applaud the City of Plano's Police Department for publishing the form online and making it easy for citizens to fill out the form and return it. However, the form is also threatening to a citizen who wishes to file an official complaint on an officer. And the reason I felt that form, the officer complaint form, was threatening to a citizen is because whenever you fill out a complaint form, I don't want to hear anything about me going to jail. If I feel like I'm complaining on an officer, I don't want to hear anything about me. There's a risk of me going to jail because I may have got the day wrong or the time wrong when I'm filling out a complaint form. I haven't been trained to fill out complaint forms. And it's the same thing with citizens. They haven't been trained to fill out a complaint form. So depending on the officer, depending on what's going on, they can use that to prosecute you. And they can say that you're filling out a fictitious claim against an officer, and take my word for it. An officer can do that. So, it's important that we understand when we're filling these things out, what we're looking for and what we're doing. Okay? The complaint form for the city of Plano read as, that it's threatening. Filing, it says in bold letters at the bottom of each page, and the page was only, the complaint form was 2 pages. Filing a false complaint against a police employee is a violation of the Texas Penal Code, Section 37.02. And just so you guys know, that's perjury. Okay? If a person knowingly and intentionally makes a false statement under oath or swears to the truth of a false statement previously made under oath, a person may be found guilty and punished by a fine up to $4,000, confinement in jail up to 1 year, or by both fine and imprisonment. Now, a lot of attorneys and chief of police and law enforcement personnel would say to you, well, we've never, ever put this on a person. They never put charges on a person for doing this. Okay, well, you may not have, and if you haven't done it, why do you use the language? Is it to threaten? If you're not, think about it. If you're not filing charges against someone for doing something, why use the language? The language is to deter and to threaten. And I know maybe some officers don't think that when they're putting it in, because they're probably following a template. They saw it another law enforcement agency, copied it, didn't really realize it. But we're talking about civil rights here for people, and the people have the right to redress their government for grievances. And I shouldn't be threatened by going to jail for simply saying something that happened to me. Officer may have had a bad idea. I don't want to fill out an affidavit on that because you had a bad attitude, not idea, but a bad attitude. Officer had a bad attitude. How is that criminal charges? He got a bad attitude. He needs to realize he's dealing with the public and maybe have a better attitude. That's the difference. And I said that officer slammed my head against a window. But I don't want to make this video too long, so I want to make sure I stay on topic with the meat of the potatoes. But this is the initial email, and you can see here what I'm asking the attorneys. I have to ask you, when did filing a statement or a complaint against an officer become a criminal offense? Is a citizen who fills out this form under oath. Texas Penal Code 37.02 is in regards to perjury. Are citizens at risk of perjuring themselves if they fill out this form? If the answer to that question is no, I ask that you have the chief of police to remove it. We believe in police reform, and we also believe we have the right to petition the government for redress of grievances. I believe that, and I shouldn't be threatened. But I want you guys to see a copy of what I'm talking about with the form. So here's the complaint form, right? You can see it on here. But if you scroll down, this is FM 614.007, so you can go yourself online to the City of Plano Police Department and look for the form online. You can see it says the threatening language here. Okay? You see that language right there. It's on the first page. Now, I want you to make sure you pay attention to this, and I'll tell you why to pay attention to this later on, because it's pretty interesting. But you see the threatening language here. You also see the threatening language here, letting you know you better think twice about making this complaint. So, I want to first draw everything, initially communication with the attorneys and the chief of police. But, a lot of times they come back with an attitude or, I don't have to do this. Or, what are you talking about? You're a nut. So, but I want to show you guys in order what transpired. So you can see here, these are emails that were blocked, old emails from people that are blocked. But here, let's see what happens. Here, looks like I said the same thing, just expanding it and opening it up. This is the first response I got back from the chief. And I just want you to see how this Chief Ed Drain, City of Plano Police Department, this is how he responded. You guys saw what I had to say? This is what Chief Ed Drain responded with. Good morning. I concur with your reasoning. We will modify the form in our website to remove reference to a criminal penalty for filing a false complaint. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. Chief Ed Drain, Plano Police Department. There's his number. Like I said, this doesn't have to be difficult. This is how, you present your problem, and a good police officer will try to help you. Because they're not here, they shouldn't have the mindset to put you in jail. But as you see, you agree with me. And he said that he's going to change it and all that. But, that could be 2 years, 30 years. People say things just to say it so you can shut up and get out of here. But I want you guys to see, I'm going to always check and see. So this is me responding back to him. Thank you, Chief Drain. You are an exceptional leader and example to all law enforcement agencies in the country. I would like to post this conversation. I think I missed some of it in here, but let me see. I may not have. No, I didn't miss any of it. So letting them know I want to post the conversation. No, I must have missed some of them, Y'all calm, bear with me for a second, That's what happens when you do this in real time. But we'll work it out, don't worry. We're going to get this thing figured out. But I just wanted you to see, Chief Drain responded. And he said he concurred with what was going on with it. And I also let him know that I was going to share it. Okay? So we get down to here. Once again, I'm thinking, okay, you said you're going to change it, but when exactly are you going to change it? Let's go see. "4:59 p.m. Chief Drain informed me the changes were made to their complaint form and their website as he discussed. He kept his word and made the change to it. And I want you guys to see, I could be a butthole to people, but I thanked him for what he had done. But I still had it cashed in. So when I went to the website, it was still showing there. And now, and I want you to see this, I'm telling the chief, I don't want to be a pain, but the language on the website, it still appeared there. But I've later found out it was cached in my browser. I cleared my cache out, went back into it, and it was gone. So he did remove that. But this is what the chief did do. Rather than put the threatening language there, he has now turned the complaint form into an affidavit. In other words, what the threat was that could happen, he went on and now made this document official for charges of perjury to happen to you. And this is what I told him, because you're gonna have to wake up a little earlier. I like Chief Drain, but Like most law enforcement, they got to have something up their sleeve to protect theirs. But we're going to watch. So I told them, I notice your team has now placed data on the complaint form that it now has to be notarized. That's what I meant to say. Notarized. No doubt this is due to Texas Penal Code 37.02 and 3708. And though you have worked with me to remove the threatening verbiage from the form, though I asked you to remove it from where you download the complaint form, would you accept a complaint form? Because this is the key thing. Sometimes you got to work in stages, guys. You can't stay on a situation too long. There's a lot of cleanup here to do. And that's why we have to educate the citizens of the city of Plano or the citizens anywhere where they want to file a complaint against a police officer that works for the city of Plano. They may present me this document and look like I have to do all this, but I don't have to do this. And this is what I asked them because I needed to know for sure. Would you accept a complaint form on an officer if I handwrite it out and sign it without being notarized? And when I say would you accept it, I mean, would you still conduct your investigation as this is a formal complaint against an officer? I do understand you would like to protect your officers from frivolous complaints. That I do. So, this is Chief Drain's response. Below is the new verbiage that is currently on our webpage when I check. Please, this is him telling me to do a refresh. And their public information officer, that's what PIO means. Public information officer, check the page tomorrow. Share their old version at another location on the page. He said the notary provision is required in the event criminal charges are filed against the complaining party. If we require notarization, we will handle that at the PD at no charge to the complaining party. It will be rare that the form will require notarization, though. We will not file criminal charges merely because the complainant was mistaken about an officer's action. These cases will be limited to when someone objectively lies, keyword, objectively lies when alleging that an officer committed a criminal offense. For example, several years ago, a complainant alleged that an officer on duty assaulted in broad daylight behind a shopping center. Our activities logs clearly show the officers nowhere near the location. The complainant was not mentally unsound, so we filed charges on her. Extreme cases such as this are very rare. Now, this is where the conversation between Chief Drain and I get a little interesting. Because the chief says Texas law requires, it's bad business to try to put up evidence that's not evidence to support your claim when it's not law. Okay, a lot of officers do that. A lot of them interpret things to be for their support, but that's not what it means. So you can see here that Chief Drain says the Texas law requires that all complaints against police officers be in writing and signed by the person making the complaint. That's it. That's all. I'm going to say it again. Texas law requires that all complaints against police officers be in writing and signed by the person making the complaint. Doesn't require it to be notarized. Doesn't require for you to for it to be an affidavit. Doesn't apply to anything other than for your investigation to start. You write out your complaint, and the person that's making the complaint has to sign the document. That's it. That's all. And then this goes to say complaints must generally be made within 30 days of the incident unless special circumstances. The person who was wrong must file a complaint. Other persons may give statements and witnesses. Notarization of the complaint form is not required in most circumstances. The Plano Police Department will provide notary services if required. Now, you have to know that it's not required. Okay? That document is not required in there. And you don't have to write that. All you have to do is let them know that it's signed by the person writing out the complaint form. Just needs to be written out, not verbally. A lot of people want to call the police station and make a verbal complaint. No, that's not how formal complaints get done in the state of Texas. I don't know what state you're in, but the state of Texas, it needs to be written and signed. Now, you can fax it, you can email it, you can do whatever. Make sure you have a way for them to contact you, because you do want to know. And then when I say contact you, I mean an email address. Doesn't need to be the email address you use frequently. It could be email address that gives you a little anonymity. As you see, you have civil rights at gmail.com. That's my email address, but I don't need everyone knowing my real email address. Make it harder for you to find. You'll find me eventually. They'll find out who's sending it, but emails will be non-threatening. But as you can see, Chief, you are absolutely correct. I deleted the cache in my browser. Works as intended. And thank you for letting me know the notary information is not required if a citizen chooses to file a complaint against an officer. I will be performing an audit of the procedure in the next few weeks. I promise to be respectful and courteous. And I also, because this is what I like to do, give agencies an opportunity to come in and allow me to assist them with First Amendment auditors as myself. Because some people want the YouTube fame. Some people want just a donation with the PayPal. Look, I've been in jail for nothing. In my teens, I went to jail for nothing because I didn't know my rights. And a lot of people don't know their rights. I'm not here as a gotcha to the police department. I'm a legitimate news agency. DFW Accountability News. I'm a legitimate news agency. And I would rather offer assistance to the police department as well as they assist the citizens. We all have to get along. We all have to get along. But if a officer oversteps their bounds and they work and operate under the color of law, I will file complaints and I will sue. The qualified immunity is gone. And I think I was professional in this, but I wanted you all to see that changes are being made slowly. And I'll be making certain videos in regards to this so you guys can see, what's going on in case you want to go and do an audit. But I will be doing an audit on the city of Plano. I said a couple weeks, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. That's when I take the cameras, and that's when we'll see if what the chief said is true. I'm going in and I'll be having an audit. I want a complaint form and I want to go through the steps, and I do not want it notarized. And I'm expecting the officer to allow that. Okay? So that's it for now. And I hope that I was able to help. So if you have a question or you have something as well, remember, guys, these are your rights. Use them or lose them.